As requested, here's my review of Bully. This one was highly recommended to me, and it left me feeling depressed. But that's what made it stand out, surprisingly enough. Let me backtrack. Bully is based on a real incident which happened in 1993. 7 teenagers in Florida killed one of their associates named Bobby Kent. The 7 people were quickly found guilty of his murder, and some are apparently still serving their sentences to this day. The reasons they gave for the murder alluded to how Bobby was an abusive, volatile young man who subjected his supposed friends to psychological torture and outright abuse. The film follows the events leading up to his death and then shows the consequences. And if you think talking about the murder is a spoiler for this film, they outright advertised the murder in the film's trailer, so I consider this fair play. The movie focuses on the way these people go through part-time jobs while being complete hedonists in their own personal lives. When one of their associates seems to go too far with his antics, a couple of them get together, and from there, a murder plot just begins to snowball. When you get down to it, the performances in this film are really good. The lead roles are performed by Brad Renfro, Nick Stahl, Rachel Miner, Michael Pitt, Bijou Phillips, and Leo Fitzpatrick. All of them capture the spirit of these teenagers completely detached from reality. What's interesting is that not all of them are from low-income or broken-up homes. But what their parents all have in common is that they have no idea who their kids really are, or what they're up to on a daily basis. The irony is that Bobby Kent was the only one still in high school and able to go to college. But instead of that, he antagonizes his best friend with violence and a girl he likes with sexual assault. And this is where we get to the controversy behind this movie. Bully was directed by Larry Clark, who some people might know was the director of an even more controversial film named Kids. As you can imagine, Larry Clark's filmography has always focused on teenagers getting drunk, getting stoned, having sex, often all at the same time. Clark has been accused of being exploitative, but I'm inclined to agree with what Roger Ebert said about this movie. These youths are not glorified. They're not heroes for getting back at Bobby. They're a bunch of lazy slackers who stumble into thoughts of murder almost as an afterthought. They have little to no idea of what they're talking about when they discuss murder, and it barely hits them at all, even when the deed is being carried out. As Roger Ebert said, Bobby and his killers deserved each other. And I'm not saying Bobby was a good guy. In fact, I'd go further and say he's one of the most detestable people I've ever seen in a film. But I'll say this about him. If this movie is any indication, then he was truly judged by his peers. And while the film itself can be called sleazy and exploitative by some, I think it resists being either of those things and manages to do a good job depicting a senseless crime, committed by people who didn't understand what they had done even after it was over.